What up, world? Welcome to the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast, Eagles Super Bowl week edition. I, as always, elated to bring this to you guys. Happy as hell that it's even Super Bowl week and the Eagles are preparing for it. As always, like, share, and subscribe. This helps the channel. You can check the show out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Substack, Patreon, Trovo, and as well as on Podbean. This episode, guys, like I said, is going to be dedicated to the bird game, Fly Eagles Fly. Really just detailing a lot of things going into Super Bowl week. A lot of the, media things and obligations that the team did for opening night, Chiefs and Eagles, more or less the Eagles. I'm detailing, chronologizing what the Eagles said. Also going into some of the X's and O's and things that I think are going to be pertinent or, most pertinent going into the game Sunday. And also talking a little bit about Jalen Hurts' improvement against the blitz. And also the big matchup between the Eagles D-line and the Chiefs offensive line. So that being said, before we get into this episode, guys, I want to make sure we give a shout out to friends of the show, the leading ticket getter and place to get tickets in the world for live shows, concerts, and events, StubHub. You're looking for that big game tickets, trying to get to the Super Bowl, trying to get to the golf invitational that just popped up, or the Bad Bunny concert, or the Eagles residency in Las Vegas, definitely check the links in the description of this video. I always, like I said, I've been at StubHub, a great friend of the show. Definitely make sure that we definitely have those links in the description so that way you guys can capitalize on the opportunity to get these tickets. I know these tickets are real hard to get sometimes, and you might not have the time online, but if you're sitting here watching the show with me, watching the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast, definitely get a chance to capitalize on it. Like I said, StubHub, the leading place in the world for tickets to live shows, concerts, and events. That being said, guys, BG's back. Brandon Graham is fucking back, y'all. I'm excited. Didn't think he was going to make it back after that torn tricep against the Rams. He kind of let the cat out of the bag last night, letting it be known that he's definitely going to play. Hella excited to see BG back in the fold. Just another guy in the rotation that we're going to need, especially against this Chiefs team. The more arms and hands and guys getting after Mahomes, the merrier. And having that veteran presence out there is crucial. I think definitely crucial in this game. So I'm happy as hell to get that out the way and say BG is back. So, and it's weird, man, because, I said this to my brother the other day, and I must be honest, it's so weird for me because 15 years ago, I was not thrilled when he got drafted. I thought he was going to be a bust. He hadn't really lived up to the hype and the potential yet. And this man fought so hard and just, he did all the requisite things he needed to, got his body right, got his mind right, and wound up becoming one of the best, if not one of the best defensive players in Philadelphia Eagles history. Definitely in the top 10. And BG is just that fucking dude, man. And it's good to see him back. It's good to see him on that defensive line, talking shit, attacking, getting that Pat Mahomes, attacking his Chiefs D-line. We're going to need that energy and effort to win this game. So I'm ecstatic. Definitely ecstatic to see that. Also excited to see Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson back. Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson both were battling with injuries going into the NFC Championship game. It's well documented. Landon Dickerson was battling with the knee injury. Cam Jurgens was battling with the back. Obviously, Cam Jurgens was able to come in, which is kind of funny because he's a starting center, and, Dickerson was actually taking his role, helping him. But, Jurgens came in and, got the win, helped seal the win for Philadelphia. So good to see that those guys are healthy and definitely participating in practice and no setbacks since, the injuries. So definitely great to see. And we're going to need all hands on deck to win this game. So I'm definitely glad to see that the team's for the most part healthy and coming into this game ready to win. Also, I wanted to definitely make sure I touched on a couple of things with Jalen Hurts. One of them is via the Athletic, and I'll touch on that first. Jalen Hurts' improvement against the blitz. Something that I think was well documented and versed and talked about as of last year, 2023. 2 years ago, 2023, where Jalen, in the offense, even when they would call out the blitz and call out, where the blitz was coming from and certain packages, they struggled a lot. Was definitely something that was a work in progress. Jason Kelsey was really primarily in charge for calling out the blitz packages. So great to see that Jalen's improved about that. Like I said, you can check out the article from The Athletic. They did a great deep dive on plays from the Super Bowl a couple years ago, how that affected and led up to this moment, and what the Chiefs defense is good at doing in certain blitz packages. Make no fucking mistake. Steve Spagnuolo is going to make it to the Hall of Fame as a coordinator strictly because of the game plan he's had against the Giants, game plans he's implemented against teams. I mean, this man is a mastermind when it comes to defense, so I got to give him credit for that. But Jalen Hurts has had success against him against the blitz. He would actually be, I think Jalen Hurts, from what I'm seeing here, and you guys can see it in the description, Jalen Hurts can wind up being third. I think he is third all time, amongst quarterbacks, Brady, Joe Burrow, and him having efficiency per attempt against the blitz. So, definitely some aspect of Jalen's game that has improved this year. Definitely something that the Chiefs are going to have to be mindful of, and they're going to have to really calculate and time how they blitz him. And especially because of the turnover margin. Jalen Hurts has not turned the ball over. He's played exceptionally well. The turnover margin has been plus 11, which I think has been outstanding for the Eagles. I think that's the best in Nick Sirianni's tenure since he's been here. And that matters because the Chiefs are 6th in the NFL in total quarterback pressures. They have 171 fucking QB pressures on the season, which is just insane. And they had 73 quarterback knockdowns, which just lets you know they can get to the quarterback. Different style of game, being that they're going up against this offensive line. I think this offensive line will be able to hold up pretty well against some of their blitz packages. Obviously, you won't be able to hold up against every one because you're talking about Spagnuolo and a team that's been in the Super Bowl the past few years, so nothing uncommon there. But definitely going to be interesting to see how Jalen responds, because if Jalen can maintain that blitz well, this could be a game where Jalen Hurts has arguably the best game of his career. Also going into another thing too, Jalen spoke about the fire that was lit under him, stemming from this Super Bowl 57 loss a couple years ago, and how he's kept the main thing, and just stayed poised and poised and focused. I'm excited. Listening to him speak, listening to the team speak, they sound so much more subdued and prepared for this game. It seemed like the first time when they got there a couple years ago, they were hype about the moment and just kind of embracing the moment. Now it's embracing the moment and winning the moment. You can clearly see that they're about business and they're focused on winning this game. And I know the world is going to probably say the Chiefs are going to win, and I completely understand. But I really like how this team is mentally, how their mental approach is, and how they're verbally sounding going into this game. They definitely sound ready. Also, film study wise, I'll wrap up the show with this. Something from Greg Cosell that I took my time out yesterday morning to watch. He does a podcast with Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman Ross Tucker. He does a podcast with him from time to time, and he broke down some great X's and O's going into the Super Bowl and some things to keep an eye on. One of the things that I thought was interesting was he said, the Eagles present an interesting challenge against the Chiefs with their rushing attack. The Chiefs essentially aren't great against the run. We know that Joe Mixon in the divisional round and James Cook in the AFC Championship had kind of had their way with them. They both wound up having somewhere between 13 and 15 carries for 80-plus yards. Obviously, with Saquonbarkley, you cannot afford to allow him to have 80 yards early in this game because that is not going to bode well for Kansas City. But I think that what Greg Cosell pointed out that I thought was dope was he expects to see a lot of 11 and 12 personnel. That's usually the big front, extra tight end or 2 tight ends out wide in the running formations to kind of blunt the attack of what Kansas City wants to do, which I can definitely see because let's be honest, once Saquon hits that second level, it's fucking over. So if you can really get that offensive line that creates space and kind of eat up space, at that point it's all up to Saquon to just hit the hole and make moves. So definitely can see that being a factor. Also, what offensive formations, and I was interested to hear his take on this, because what offensive formations will the Eagles use against the Chiefs defense? And it was very interesting because what Greg Cosell broke down was essentially bunch, stack, or tight formations against this defense will allow Philadelphia to do what they want to do and force Kansas City to get out of the defense that they're comfortable in. Because make no mistake, Spagnuolo, as I've been stating throughout this episode, can send blitzes from any direction, can send defensive line shifts, can adjust pressures, can adjust coverages, just to confuse the shit out of you. So that's going to be interesting to see. But I like that Greg Cosell said that because in those bunch, stack, and tight formations, it leaves the probability of the run highly, like the number one option, but the pass is definitely the secondary option. And with Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith, these should be games where they eat. This should be games where Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert eat. I know they ate the last time they played this team. I expect them to eat again strictly because this is essentially the same team you're playing. And I don't really feel like they got better in the backup corner position and in the linebacker position to defend Dallas Goedert. Now, having Leo Chenal out there is going to be interesting to see what formations Philadelphia uses to stunt him, to make sure he's not a factor. You definitely got to obviously keep an eye out for Chris Jones. He's a fucking terror on the defensive line. He's going to get some shit off. We know that. He's going to definitely get through a couple times. So it's going to be an interesting battle with the Eagles and what they do offensively to stunt the Kansas City Chiefs defense and attack this team in possibly a different way that they haven't seen. Also, too, what's the game plan for Travis Kelce? Travis Kelce has been a fucking monster. We all know he's threatening Jerry Rice's record for receptions and yards in the postseason. I think that the game plan is going to be vastly different for Travis Kelce than it was for Zach Ertz in the AFC title game. I kind of get annoyed hearing people ask, well, why they let Zach Ertz get 11 catches for 100 yards? Because they knew Zach Ertz wasn't going to fucking beat him. Travis Kelce could beat you doing that. Zach Ertz won't. Not at this stage in his career. Zach Ertz has revived his career. Zach Ertz is still a valuable player. He's not anywhere near the caliber of a Travis Kelce, where he's going to sit there and cause you to adjust your whole defense and change the game plan because he's getting catches and yards. It's just not going to happen. So I definitely see the Eagles having a different plan of attack going against Travis Kelce, and definitely trying to make sure that he is less of a factor in this game and try to take him out. Now, it's interesting because something that Greg Cosell pointed out that I even thought about, but that means, the Eagles defense likes to play in nickel a lot of times. That means Cooper DeJean is on the field. They like to have Cooper DeJean on the field. If Cooper DeJean's not on the field, that kind of leaves, a linebacker on him? And I just feel like that's a mismatch for Philadelphia. A mismatch for Kansas City against Philadelphia. Travis Kelce on those linebackers, he could feast. So, interesting to see if Cooper DeJean is going to be on him most of the game, or if they employ double teams, or how they employ it. But I definitely expect them to double team Travis Kelce. You cannot allow him to have a great game, because he can still go off and get whatever he wants. But you can't allow him to just destroy you in this game. And then last but not least, I think the most important matchup in this game that is going to be highlighted is the Eagles D-line versus the Chiefs offensive line. When you're breaking it down against the specifics, the Chiefs have had a mismatched offensive line all year. Trey Smith, has come in, and Joe Thuney is in there. They got guys where they had guys playing tackle, didn't work out. They've had guys, Thuney, Smith kind of switch positions to try to help out to make sure Patrick Mahomes isn't getting fucking killed. All that being understood, this is going to create an immense challenge for them, because I think their offensive line is good enough to defend against Philly's D-line. The problem is, I think that if you're Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, you can't try to have long developing plays. You got to have quick passing plays, because anything over 3 or 6 seconds where Pat is sitting back there, Pat can move and improvise, but we know there's going to be a couple, maybe 3 or 4 coverage sacks that is going to happen in this game, just because that defensive line can get to you that fast. So it's going to be interesting to see how they attack that. It's going to be interesting to see how Andy Reid tries to stunt this blitz, because I really feel like the key to this game is either going to be Milton Williams or Jalen Carter on the D-line. Those guys are able to win their matchups. Sky's the limit, because then that means Nolan Smith and, other guys coming off the edge. So remains to be seen, but I definitely feel like the Eagles have a lot of tools in place to win this game. Maybe you're going to have to run, like I said, you're going to have to run those bunch of stack formations, those tight formations. You may have to switch up some things on defense, but you got to pull out all the stops, because this is the Super Bowl. Ultimately, this is what you fought all year to get here for. You win this game, that's the season, and you're champion. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. Like I said, Eagles Super Bowl week news and notes edition. I thank you guys, as always, for watching. I'll have some more updates as the week goes along. Always plug in, like, share, and subscribe. Take care, and enjoy the rest of your day.